This is Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
You know why he went off on it?
Why?
Because they went after some people that were talking about you should not pay the government taxes. But these people had 4,200 clients in an 11-member firm. There was only one black client, WEsley Snipes. WEsley Snipes had never been through that county. Guess what's unique about the district where this federal court was located? It's got the only freestanding Ku Klux Klan store in America.
Really?
Yeah. And guess what else the judge was going off on? He was going to find all these jurors in contempt for not showing back up until he found everyone that showed up on the wrong day was black, and every one of them had gotten the same wrong day from the clerk. So in other words, he had a diverse panel. But he said, we've got motions to hear, so we will continue the jury selection later. Everybody is excused. You will be notified when to come back. So when they came back, all of the black prospectors were missing. And then he found out that the clerk had given him the wrong date. Just them, and only them. So it wound up a white jury, but then the white jurors got upset. They said they didn't know he was going to get 3 damn years, and then here. It wasn't even really his fault. He didn't have a good lawyer.
Right. Even with the resources he had, he didn't get. I mean, you got to this friend.
Well, the bottom line was,
I see you.
okay, man, Doc, take it out.
AC. Oh, it's pleasure to see you.
We stay together. Yes, sir. Yeah, it's like this, man. The judge said, Mr. What was the guy's name? He said, Counsel, the court has read your brief and is impressed by the extent of it, but we're not here for that. Would you please call the character witness? The court is most impressed by the letters that your character witness have written on behalf of your client, Mr. Snipes. The court would like to hear from your witnesses. Well, Your Honor, this is very important. Well, it's your case. Go on. An hour later. Counsel, what is wrong with you? The court said that we will go through this at a later time. Let's hear from your character witnesses. There, finally. Go to this and say, Miss Counsel, what's wrong with you? We're going to break for lunch. When we come back, the court strongly urges you to get into your character witnesses. We come back, they get some girl in there or some young female lawyer, and she gets to lecturing the judge. She said, look, miss, said, when the court swore you in, it found out you was 32 years old. This court's been on the bench for 36 years, longer than you've been breathing. You trying to say the court doesn't know anything about sentencing? Let's hear from a character witness. So they kept going on. He said, stop. We're taking a 15-minute witness. Oh, great. The first witness you're going to call is Judge Brown, then you're going to call Mr. Stewart, and then you're going to call Colonel so-and-so, and such, 15 minutes each. No more. The guy, his lawyer's name was Meach. Worst performance I've ever seen. Just embarrassing. And people were hanging their heads in the courtroom. Judge, is it really this bad? I said, if you knew what you're looking at, it's even worse.
Yeah.
So they went on, and the judge said, you forced me, you didn't give me any proof. But he gave him 3 years for overpaying $250 billion in tax. $250,000 overpayment in tax. Just failure to file a complete set.
But he overpaid.
Overpaid $250,000. He gave him direct deduction.
Wow.
See, he was out of town all but like 11 days for a 3-year period.
Okay.
So he had hired this tax accounting firm to handle his affairs for him. They were after them, so WEsley Snipes was the only black client out of the 4,200 they had. and they picked him. So when the jury gets through, their finding was they found him guilty of the lesser included misdemeanor counts of failure to file a complete set of returns. And the further finding, the IRS even backed that up. He had overpaid his taxes by $250,000.
So the IRS agreed with that he overpaid.
He overpaid. They had a refund check for him right there in the courtroom. And then the other doggone thing that was ridiculous is he shows up with a certified cashier's check for seeing $6.5 million just in case there were any taxes.
And he still went to jail.
Well, wait a minute. The judge is jumping on the U.S. attorney. He says, we're not going to take that. Says, don't you represent the U.S. government? Well, yes, sir. Well, isn't the IRS part of the U.S. government? So you can't take this on behalf of the U.S. government? I've never heard of such a thing. So Snipes files his $6.5 million certified check with the clerk of the court, and then the IRS gets up and presents that they got a $250,000 check on a refund for him because he overpaid.
Wow.
So Geithner gets a $42,000 fine for pleading guilty to multi-million-dollar tax fraud and no jail time, and Wesley Snipes gets 3 years for failure to file a complete set of returns, not failure to pay income taxes or defraud of the government or tax fraud, just failure to file a complete set.
And this is Tim Geithner, the former U.S. Secretary of Treasury on the Obama.
Was also
Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, he was chief consultant. As were both members of the Supreme Court he got on there, as were the firm he and Michelle worked for, as is Cruz's wife, as is Hillary's daddy, as in, you know what the other thing came up on those emails? And even Trump had to do this. You have to file a disclosure of conflict of interest. He filed one. She filed one that said she got $13 million in slightly less than 15 months on behalf of Goldman Sachs speaking agreement. Mm-hmm. The email showed it was 26 million, not 13.
Wow. Hillary. Arkansas Mafia.
See, I don't like Trump, but that thing they've got now about that FICA court, FEMA court, whatever the hell they call it. Pfizer. See, what that's about is after 9/11, they set up this thing where for purposes of espionage, they want to eavesdrop. So they've got a secret court that ordinarily keeps no public records that you got to approach to get a search warrant or a surveillance warrant. So they went in there with false information. FBI agent attested that this was from a reliable informant. The investigation backed this up. They'd done no damn investigation. It was just they got it from a political campaign where they'd paid somebody to come up with the spin. So see, there is a federal crime. It's a felony to make a knowingly false statement to a federal agency, whether you're FBI talking to the grand jury or somebody else. So see, I used to represent federal defendants on multiple counts, indictments, and, you know, we'd win all of them except the last one where I said, man, don't say anything. So what he would say is, you're here because we are investigating a matter of fraud of FHA, blah, blah, blah. Oh, do you have anything to say? I don't know anything about it. Well, see, they just told you what the hell it is, and literally that's what they would prove in front of the damn jury, that they told you what it was, and you said, I don't know anything about it, but you knew it then, so you get convicted of that bloody count, and then they bring all that other stuff in on sentencing when you've been acquitted of all of the so-called criminal charges.
Wow.
See, that's what they do with the feds. So, I mean, it's like, damn. See, so bottom line is you go in there and you make an affidavit that these are the products of an investigation and confidential informants that the government has had, when you know goddamn well it's no confidential informants, it's the political opposition paying for some surveillance on somebody to get spin, and you present it to the federal court as though it is. And see, that so-called memo is not really a memo. The court issued an order in a memorandum when NSA went and brought the FBI back in, when the Justice Department said, look, some of this isn't right. So they went in with the story that they misread the law and they made a mistake. It was an error and they apologized to the court. So the court issued an order effectuating that it finds that the information entered was in error, the information presented to the court to secure the process was in error, and it issued a memorandum detailing its findings. See, when that congressional committee did it, they just named the report after whoever's head of the committee. It's not his memorandum, that's the committee report. And all it did was when they passed the law after 9/11 setting up this special secret court, they gave a congressional committee an oversight over what the secret court did. So they're supposed to review this secret tribunal's proceedings so nobody uses it as a star chamber like the English used to use, which is forbidden in the Constitution. So, see, the term is being hoisted by one's own petard. In other words, you get grabbed by your own dick because you go in there and you start trying to start some mess, and what happens is you get caught up in what you started. See, I don't know why Trump didn't release the report that the Democrats wanted to do, but see, the other thing is he did them a favor. Because when they issue that report and release it to the congressional committee, the way they did it, I suspect it's just like some of my clients. I said, don't talk to them when you go in there. Just say, I have nothing to say. I exercise the Fifth Amendment. Do not try to explain. See, what they wind up doing is making a knowingly false or contrived statement, you see, or reckless statement to a federal investigative agency. So all of them that were part of this damn thing that they came up with could have been prosecuted. So Trump did them a favor.
He wanted to redact the files before being released.
Yeah, but see, he just didn't release the damn thing. See, what he's talking about is, okay, you want this in here? Do you really want this in here? You know what this means? Oh, man, please. See, there was a trial in front of me. They had this pervert who sodomized a 11-year-old stepson who was out here at Shrine School for the physically challenged. So he had a particularly dumb lawyer. And she didn't read or understand the law. It says penetration, it says complete penetration or even penetration is not sufficient to establish this offense. Any slight penetration, no matter how slight, is sufficient to establish the elements of this criminal offense. So she puts us client on the stand and she says, you didn't put it all the way in, did you? No, you just, she's leading her client. You just put the head in, didn't you? Yeah, and he started screaming, so I pulled it out. Well, damn, she just confessed her client to all of the necessary elements of the criminal offense. That's what these fools were doing. I'm going, oh, man, I cannot believe this dumb money. My client's not guilty. He only put the head in. So when I read the charge,
up everybody.
Yeah, so when I read the charge, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you've heard the testimony and the evidence that is before you. The law that the court shall now read to you is a definition of the offense. And then it says penetration does not have to be complete. Any penetration of the vaginal area, the anal area, or the oral cavities, however slight, however minuscule, is sufficient to establish the elements of this offense. And she's talking about, did you put just the head in? You know, like that.
We kind of obsessed with our culture. Like, well, actually, speaking of that, QuINcy Jones, the stuff he's been saying in the interviews about friends' sex lives. Like, he said that Marlon Brando had an affair with James Baldwin and Richard Pryor.
Well, you know why he put that in there? Because he ran into the same problem that I did. Did you read that letter I just showed you?
Yeah, I read it.
So, yeah, that's the reality of what goes on in the entertainment industry. So when you get situations like that and you get everybody posturing, so you see straight people in Hollywood along Broadway, they're cut out of everything, discriminated against, jacked up. They might bring you in till they profit from you and then they'll cut you off. Your career is not that. So what he's doing, I know QuINcy, he's getting old, but what he's doing is just, look, you glamorize all these people. Be careful what you're doing. You're a straight young man, but these guys, they're not straight.
Well, what they say is about him, but these are his friends.
They aren't his friends.
Marvin Gaye, Richard Pryor. I mean, the widow said.
See, here's the thing. When you say friends in Hollywood,
Okay,
you have a group of people that you associate with. You may backstab each other, cut each other's throats, and sit around and joke around. Yeah, I really cheated him out 2.8 mil. Really took him to the cleaners on that one. He didn't even see it coming. Yeah, the son of a bitch, he really got me on that one. But they're sitting out there drinking and hanging because everybody is vicious. They stab each other. They have no loyalty. They undercut people that have loyally supported them. They ruin careers. They do everything. You look at somebody's resume, he's had this similar jobs and he's been fired 37 times for incompetence. So he just got fired 3 days ago. In 9 days, he'll get another job like that for more money.
Wow.
See, it's just, it's like that industry is a cesspool. There is a case involving ABC and Disney that the Ninth Circuit decided in 2011. It's a very interesting case. If you remember this show, So You Want to Be a Millionaire? Well, they had the producers and directors and some other personnel sued ABC and Disney and said they got cheated out of about $4.5 million. Well, Disney and ABC lost in the lower courts, then Disney and ABC to delay it, filed in federal court. They lost there, so it went all the way up to the Ninth Circuit. A 3-judge panel ruled against them. The whole 9-member panel ruled against them, and guess what they said? This industry needs to be taught the first rule of American contract law. All parties are expected to deal with each other in good faith. They do not know what these terms mean. Therefore, this is the reason for the extraordinary award. The Supreme Court affirmed it, so ABC and Disney are stuck. Guess how much the plaintiffs got? $680 million, which with interest is up to $820 million. So ABC is selling off properties all over America to pay these people off. They own half the rides at Disney World and Disneyland, so they get the revenue from the rides to pay off the judgment. $680 million ramped up to 800-some million, and that was a finding. You guys just don't know how to be honest people even with each other.
Wow. Well, Disney and ABC, ESPN is a big old conglomerate, a monopoly.
Walt Disney and ABC.
They about to be killing this weekend with the Black Panther movie.
Well,
some more big
movies. Now, let me say this. Did anyone happen to see Gods of Egypt?
I know about. I haven't seen it.
See it is an interesting movie, and then realize that the effeminate gay god that is the man of wisdom is the bad man in PanTHEr.
Wow.
And then think about what QuINcy was saying. I mean, it's their right to do it, but I showed you that letter. What it is when I first started the show, and it's first aired September 1998, November. There's a letter that these people got a lawyer to draft, and they signed it. It says, "We, the below signed avid and proud lesbians, the 23 of us complain." They complained that they never had to work around a straight black man before, and they resent that and did not wish to continue because there were so many nice gay black men, but all straight black males were nothing but low-down atavistic monsters and kind of stuff. So they said they resented my deep voice, the way I made eye contact. I insulted them by opening doors for women and this kind of thing. It was just like discipline me or ban me from the lot except when absolutely necessary, so they didn't have to deal with a straight black man or be around one. It was like human resources got over there, and the chief counsel was a Hispanic woman. She was a lesbian. She says, "I'm a lesbian, but this is not going to go. You just violated the judge's rights based on gender, age. He's got an eye problem right now on physical disability, and he's the star of a hot show. You know, you really jacked yourself up. Judge, you got anything better to do? I said, I sure do. Where is he going? You know, well, he about his business. You're going to get a week-long course on EEOC regulations. See, so, I mean, see, if you work in that industry, you have that. I was on the Oscar Emmy board, see, and when they had, still am, but I don't pay any attention to it. Whenever they have Oscars and Emmys, you get all of these emails where they're pushing these various shows and people, and every single one of them has at least one or two LGBTQ links. Now, I don't care. That's your business. Do what you want to do. You got a right to do whatever you practice. But the problem is if they're concerned about how they get treated, then what does that do on the others? So what happens is if you go to the link, LGBTQ site claims that 85 to 90% of everybody in Hollywood, director, producer, actor, executive, whatever it is, they are LGBTQ practitioners. Okay. So they boast about the thing and then they congratulate each other. We'd like to congratulate so-and-so for putting in a subtle little furtherance of our thing when he had actor so-and-so cap so-and-so and rub him on his behind, or this little look that was so beautiful to sensitize the public to. So you look at this and they're talking about how to get to the youth, to acclimate them to this so that they not only become accepting, but practitioners. And then you look at what they've done with it, and then you look at how they treat straight people. See, it's like we used to have the saying out there were only 3 people semi-active in Hollywood black that was straight. Me, Bill Cosby, and Chappelle, that didn't just read a script somebody else wrote. So we caught all kinds of hell behind that. And in fact, when I first got out there, I'll tell you something they did do. I was a bachelor at the time. So you go to these parties and they have all these beautiful women. So I was, you know, on cloud 9. I thought about it. I said, don't get caught up in any setup. So I remember I went to this big party they had and I danced 4 or 5 dances in a row with this woman. We had a nice conversation. She came over a little while later and says, who is that guy over there? I said, him. So I told her who it was. Well, he came over and wanted me, said, you know, maybe he could do something for me if I'd give him a misstatement that you said something improper to me. You didn't say anything improper to me. So several other women told me this. So I had hired some woman to do my PR because they cut it out. They wanted to kill the show and embezzle. So what happened is we decided to set these fools up. So we contrived to invent a fictitious person. So we got a notary to notarize affidavits that we were doing this setup, dated it, and went over and filed it with Human Resources, and they sealed it with the date they received it. Then when my Confederate goes along and says, I said this to one of his contacts, and she said she was going to tell him, we dated that, and then she said, I got this comeback where I was asked to find who this person was, and then guess what they do? They come up with a letter of complaint signed by this fictitious woman and want to present it. So we just had them bring all of the sealed affidavits over that were dated in time. Like, okay, yeah, sure. See, this is the kind of thing Hollywood does. So they set you up. If you talk to, say, some of these people, and it's not what they want their business in the public, so I'm not going to say who, but they will tell you about all of the similar incidents where they come up with setups. See, for example, I found on my show that I had what you call back end. They try to seduce some people new with a great back end. That's where you make your money based on what the show does. Never take a net in Hollywood because they never have a net. They always have a loss. What you want is unadjusted gross, or what they call reduced adjustment gross, or specially adjusted gross. So I find that all of these dollars that I'm supposed to get 40% of or 30% of, depending on what, they took it, and like I know they took millions of dollars and did the distribution on these Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movies. You know, like, where's my money? Well, oh, hell no. So in order to operate, you had to have yourself about $120,000 put aside so every year you could conduct an audit, which you had a right to do, and they'd stall around, and it would take 3 years for them to finish up the audit to find out what money you were supposed to have. So what they would do is they would say, okay, we owe you the money, but we'll make it up for you on this contract because we don't have the cash on hand. Well, what the hell do you do with it? We leveraged it for the production of these following moves. Yeah, I know you did. Because you're wise in something like that. Buy a few shares of stock so you get the stockholders newsletter so you see what they say. On so-and-so show, we did such and such and such, and this is what we made. And they're telling the guy who is doing the show, we didn't make it, it was a bust. Oh, hell no. This is what you claimed, or are you lying to Federal Trade Commission,
That is just the culture. This is just
it's culture. It's filthy.
Mm-hmm.
And see, I remember when they renovated the headquarters for my show, where we were, it had one time been the headquarters for Warner Brothers back in the 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a director then, Cecil B. DeMille.
Wow. Yeah.
And when they tore down the sheet rock to rebuild this whole thing, we found some stairs leading to an underground passage. So when we get down there, they've got these paper labels taped on the stone walls, and it's Cecil B. DeMille's office, arrow up there, and then they had a diagram, tunnel this way going to the bungalow for Theta Barra, who was known for these black and white movies, and Jean Harlow's bungalow. He's just going down there and going up the stairs. It came up inside the bungalow and knocking it out. So I mean, it was a big, long thing. They were just fading, so everybody had a laugh. We went down some of the tunnels, and they had cave-ins, so it's like, yeah, all right, sure.
But who just won the Cecil B. DeMille Award? And shit, talking about me too.
He was just knocking it out. He had all their bungalows when to get there, and he even had a little appointment schedule, It
was Ernst Weinstein. It's just the culture.
It's the
Dr. Monsters, Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah, see, they still do it, but it's just the gay thing out there when they do it. That's the casting couch, but this was heterosexual, so that just doesn't count. So you get this continuing thing where, you got a few people on the set who are straight, generally the cameramen. So you have these IFBs. Everybody's got an IFB. It looks like a miniature hearing aid. So you can hear what's being said. So they turn the switch or the mic on so you could hear what's being said, and you hear this discussed. So they're plotting on jacking around the straight guys. Like there was a straight sound man, and they are sitting there trying to figure out how they're going to do something. So I'm listening. So I tell him, yeah, man, they're trying to do something in your locker, blah, blah, blah. So everybody had to watch everybody's back.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's a real
bullies, like gay mafia bullies type. I mean, people don't, These people bullying gay people, but you're saying the gay people were bullying straight people.
Yeah, well, in other words, we had, like in my headquarters initially was Big Ticket Television. In the executive headquarters, they had 51 people. They had one black woman who had been a girls' vice principal at Fremont High, and a white guy who had gotten a job through his uncle, but he had retired from the Army as a career officer. And, he caught grief, she caught grief, and, we'd have to protect each other. It's like, man, this is the worst hell I've ever been in.
But y'all getting paid well, right, to be in there?
Well, you have to watch out for your pay because they lie about it and steal it. Mel Brooks made a profound movie and a play. It was called The Producers, and the theme was, as if the play was a flop, you could embezzle more money than you could make if it was a hit. So it was a hit and everybody went to the penitentiary. So on my show, wound up, they admitted ultimately to 15 million, and then they upped it to 25 million. Well, you're supposed to bring this to light. Well, we don't want the bad PR, Hell, where's my money?
Let me ask you this about the Monique Netflix thing. You think she have a case in what she was saying, what your understanding of it is, based on what you just been saying to us?
Well, the thing of it is it's so damn expensive to get in court. You'd have to pay $150,000 for an initial audit. Then it'd take about 3 or 4 years to go through the stuff. Then you're going to have to pay one of the law firms about 125 grand is a down payment to do the initial work, and then another 125 grand, that's $250,000 right out of there to keep them working, and then that keeps going up there, so you might have $1.5 million attorney fee, and then 9 years later you get $11,000 more than you would have got otherwise. Oh, you
It's the
know,
waiting game. They play the waiting game.
play a waiting game.
Wait it out.
And see, one of the bad things about it is that it's an inside thing going on. So they're all buddies in one kind of way, but they backstab each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, you walk in and they've got a meeting of executives. So this guy is the CEO now, but 3 weeks ago, he was his CEO. 3 years ago, this guy over here was his CEO, and 4 years ago, he was his CEO. So they've all been fired and worked for different firms, and they're all trying to cut each other's throats, and then they don't have any institutional continuity. They do stuff. They have young people come in 2 years out of law school. They want to get into entertainment law, or somebody wants to be in PR with a big firm. So they do something, they don't keep adequate records for it, and it's gone. And then they steal. One of the things I backed them off on is some acquaintances I had gave me some information. So these people who were executives with Paramount had been stealing Paramount production property, material, equipment, taking it to a production company they owned and renting Paramount's own equipment back to them, and then embezzling money from Paramount to buy equipment to go rent back to them.
Wow.
So these are the guys that are running the place. Or I came up with one where, you know, somebody gave me canceled checks, and I backed them off because a little episode we had, because all three of them had been screwing this one little 22-year-old girl as a condition for her being there. She got upset about it, got a lawyer, so they wrote all these big checks on Paramount accounts to pay her off and shut her mouth.
Wow.
I mean, there's all kinds of filthy stuff. There was one in there where several of these executives at a conference in New Orleans had gotten 3 girls wasted off of this date rape drug, tried to rape them, or did, and one of them woke up and they had to pay out a whole bunch of change secretly through the company's accounts to shut them up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, there's some filthy stuff out there. So, I mean, it's like if you didn't always want to be in that and you came in laterally like I did over 50, it's kind of like, man, this is crazy.
Right.
And then some of the stuff happens. I remember there was one thing Rupert Murdoch gave in Sydney, Australia during the Olympics. And one guy was a complete jerk. So the thing devolved down to, well, Australia's Australia, but it devolved down to one woman throwing plates at somebody and another somebody grabbed somebody, going to knock him out. Did some of the big Aussies got involved, going to knock 2 or 3 people out.
Right.
They got a funny thing over there. People get to squabbling. So you see all these people holding up credit cards in there. What's there for? Oh, Mike. That's so if there's some splitters, everybody agree to split the top, you know, we won't see the action here. She saw it, you know. I said, oh, man, gonna deal with it up in the air, Mike. Just in case there's splitters, it's quite good entertainment, So we don't want anybody to bear all the costs, everybody put up a car. So they got a waitress going around with a tray collecting the credit cards, so they just put them all in and split the tab equally when they break the place up. I was in Sydney. We went to the downtown district. They had red light there, and, it's like 3 a.m. in the morning, and they got this group of police standing around, linked arms. There's 2 guys fighting in the middle. All right, Mort, that's a good one. Yeah, all right. I said, it's a good. Oh, yeah. Good, Mort. Yeah, all right, you old geezers. Okay, long, 30 seconds. I'm counting down. 25, 20. All right, that's the start. You guys doing anti-double? Yeah, all right. You buy the beer. You kick his eye. Yeah, all right. And we got a cab coming for all of you if you need it. Ain't nobody arrested. A couple hours later, all right, mates, you want to get into it here? All right, Constable Williams, put the hat down here, all right. Everybody put your belongings in here, no knives, put your pins in, no gouging, no biting, no hitting below the belt. We'll all have a fair fight. How long you want? 5 minutes? That's about all we can give you. 3 minutes of that law, you can go. All right, well, I'll have at it. Constable Thompson, you want to referee this one here, or should I do it? You can do it, son. You know, this is the way they roll, man. It's like, okay, no wonder they're so goddamn polite, you know. Their Crocodile Dundee shit is for real, you know. Damn, dude, real deal. They got a bridge up there. Climb the bridge. The goddamn thing's 900 feet up. You know, I climbed it.
Wow.
But they have pictures of the dude that was Crocodile Dundee. He was a painter on that bridge. This dude's up 800 feet in the air with no safety net, no wire, no railing, no harness, no hard hat, and he's up there painting 800 feet standing on a damn girder. You know what, 800 feet now. I'm going, dude, got balls, even if he did kill the damn crocodile. But he sure as hell do a mean paintbrush at 800 feet off the surface, you know, damn. Ain't nothing between him and down there. Damn.
Wow.
But, you know, they roll like that. But see, they got over there in one Australian says, you know, you moist, what the hell are you do here? You some filthy counties here. You know, no principles. I listen to you over here, half drunk, talking about you've done wrong, hell, they ought to kill your horse, you know?
Yeah.
And see, that's the way they roll out in Hollywood. You look at it and go, oh, man, wow. They got this star worship.
Right. Yeah.
And it's, if you knew these people, I mean, some of them all right, but some of them are some of the most reprehensible, low down, no good, scurvy scoundrels you could possibly encounter.
Wow.
And the way they operate it is filthy. They base it on, you know, I mean, it just got down to the point, your agent sitting there talking, we know you goddamn son of bitches are gonna cheat. But hell, at least what are we getting out of this when you fuckers cheat? You know, we got to make this so after you get through cheating, we get something out of it. You know, that's the way the discussion goes.
So you really got to be a gangster mindset to do business well in Hollywood and the culture.
Well, see, that's how they got that way. The gangsters used to run Hollywood, but then they got out when all that attention got put to the studios with that Red Scare at the late 50s. And they bailed on it, and when they found the mafia at that meeting after J. Edgar said they didn't exist, then they just said, oh, so they left them with no rules, and the rules that had been in effect were pretty tight, but they were outside rules. You know, how many bones can you afford to break for get broken for a transgression?
Right.
So
that's the connection between Hollywood and Las Vegas. That's why the gangsters ran Las Vegas. I guess that's all the same kind of connection.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, but the mob was the only one that kept that thing working like it actually was a business. These people are just crazy.
Yeah.
And see what really set it off. See what really set it off was that.
Yeah.
See, this is the background, basic, just quick. Late 60s, you've got color television. So color television is driving the movies out of business and the studios are going broke. In that day, you paid 50 cents to go into a movie as an adult, and you could walk in anytime you wanted, and there was a movie going on. You'd sit through the rest of that movie. You'd see the 3 cartoons, the mini feature, then you'd sit through the second movie, then you'd sit through the part of the first movie you missed or stay in there. So the studios had these theater chains that were affiliated with them. So every Thursday there would be 2 new movies, and every Sunday there would be 2 new movies that would go through Wednesday. So that meant that a studio had to come up with a couple of 100 movies every year. And they all had a star cast, a bunch of stars on contract. So every time you go into a movie by Warner Brothers, you had the same people starring in the movies, which is what it was, but they were going broke. So they fired a lot of these executives and they hired the new people, but most of them were LGBTQ and they had an agenda that they wanted to push. So since 1968 to 69, the public has been getting fed this agenda through one of the best propaganda, or most effective propaganda engines in the world. They've got a right to do it, but they do it. And then see, the other thing is every time they need money, cash flow, they put on a popular black movie that they want to work so they get the money.
Black Panther, right?
Yeah. Now see, or, you know, Fred the Hammer Williams, or what we call blaxploitation, you know, where they had Pam Grier, you know, and they would bring in the money, but you see, black people would get no play in Hollywood behind that. And when they got their money, they just squash everybody. Now, Tyler Perry comes up with this boo stuff and Medea and all that nonsense that downs black men. They kind of diss him, but he brings in a large amount of money. If you get somebody like Singleton or Spike Lee who try to do a conscientious movie, well, next time you see one of their productions, check your ticket. I used to sentence people to go watch Malcolm X. Yeah. And I'd go down with one of my deputies just to check the long lines. And I said, check your tickets. What are you here to see? Malcolm X. Look at your tickets. They're going in to see Beauty the Beast. Right. Well, that doesn't make any difference. You get to know, see, that's the accounting method. Right. All of these people in line are contributing money that ought to go to Spike Lee. But what's happening is going to Walt Disney. Exactly. See, that's what they do.
Remember that. They see Rose. And they printed a ticket for a booty call. I said, no, here's a booty call. We'll see over. But I said, no, I don't want to take about. And then we went to see something, and he said the movie was sold out. But it wasn't sold. It was a black movie. Something.
Yeah, that's what they do.
No, that piece of wait, it's not sold. You know. Anyway, yeah, they played.
Yeah, I went to a conference in Houston, and people were lined up to see Malcolm X. So I just stopped. Let me see your ticket. So I said, no, I want my ticket, not this movie. I wanted to say that because this is fraud. I'll report it because that's how they keep track of it. Right. You know, so that's what they did. So
they could do it this weekend then with the Black Panther movie, right?
Well, I don't know what they're going to do. See, let me explain.
Okay.
That's the other kind of thing. See, remember when I was saying they want to make cash? Yeah. They will collect the funds and accredit it to that movie. But if Spike Lee comes up with one that they're not controlling the action on, they'll cheat. Exactly. But if it's one of their things, they're going to make the claim because they want the money. That's why they're pushing it. Mm-hmm. Now, see, I don't have any hate against Stan Lee. You know, he gave black folk a break way back in the comics. You know, in the 1960s, he had Hawkman take over for Captain America. Yeah. Captain America was talking about Nixon had so disillusioned him, he just bailed, so they had a brother take over. So I don't have any problems with, Stan Lee, who comes up with it. He's a cool old man. But the bottom line is they are strapped for money right now. So what do? They put on a black exploitation movie, new kind of something. They hype it, and all of the black folk are piling in. People want to come look at. We got a group of people going, which they didn't know. I'm not. But you see, on the other hand, what are they doing with the propaganda thing? Okay, let's take the DC comic stuff. They got the Justice League, Superman, Batman, Flash,
Aquaman, your favorite.
Aquaman. They've got, then they've got, what is it? Cyborg. He's the brothers turn in the middle. They got him in the comic books too, out on animation that they play daily. And who's in charge? Wonder Woman. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, they've got Marvel comics. They've got Thor Ragnarok. So who's the badass in Thor Ragnarok? She kicks Odin's ass. It's his oldest daughter that Thor never met. You see, Star Wars. Got Luke Skywalker, master Jedi, toughest Jedi ever with the most innate force in him. And you've got his nephew who went bad, who is now the chief Sith Lord, Darth Vader's grandson, master of the dark side. So they got some little nondescript babe. Nobody know where she came from. She has no Jedi training, so she kicks Luke's ass. and she beats Darth Vader's and son's ass, you know, and she's strongest in the Force ever. They had a brother that they had in here who was supposed to have a thing with her, which a whole lot of people dislike. So they got him on a special mission, so he's getting away from the scene with this Asian babe. So instead of him being on the giant's horse or whatever in the hell it was, with her hanging on for dear life, they got him hanging on to dear life, talking about he's scared, slow down. You know, and then they make him a janitor in the damn thing. You know, it's like, damn, that's what you did, a janitor? Man, damn, that's cold, you know.
Have you seen the movie The Shape of Water? Have you seen that movie?
I can't watch stuff like that.
It was actually good, but what disturbed me was that the weakest character of the whole movie was Octavia Spencer's husband. He was like emasculated, and you know, this black man who didn't talk, he mumbled. He violated into a white man in his own house and let the white man violate his woman's space.
Oh man, but
I mean, that was the weakest character. They had, they had a gay white character that was pretty strong. Everybody had, and then to me, it promoted bestiality because she was sleeping with some type of fish man. You know, it's like they stuck that in. But I liked it. I was a big movie, but it promoted bestiality though.
well, look at Wonder Woman. They play Wonder Woman in the movies, and in the comic books, she's admittedly a lesbian.
Right.
But then she starts going by just a little bit. But I mean, they've got a cartoon they show the kids on the same thing. Wonder Woman's lesbian lover is upset with Superman because she thinks Superman trying to hit on Wonder Woman. So she's trying to rank out Lois Lane to rank out Superman to back him off of Wonder Woman.
Wow.
You know, it's some crazy, and this is for junior high and high school kids on the Cartoon Network. You know, you're going, and speaking of that, oh, awful. They've got this kids program called Doc McStuffins. Doc McStuffins is a real cute little young black girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's like 7 years old, something like that. She's got a magic necklace that makes toys and stuffed animals come to life. So she doctors on them. Why does she doctor on them? She's practicing as her mother does. Her mother is a sister who is a doctor, a physician. Got a big old butt and stereotyped. And she's always bringing her girlfriends and female professional colleagues home for dinner. And her husband is such a good cook, and he cleans the house so well, and he takes care of the children so enthusiastically that she has nothing to do. So the little girl who is Doc McStuffins, stuffed animals, she has a little brother that's 2 years under, and they make him look like an idiot. And hubby walks around with a little drone ass. He's a black man, and he wears this little apron, and he just prissily flirts or flits around. He loves to cook and make cakes and elaborate meals and take the burden off of his wife, who's a professional. You want to puke looking at that, you know, and there's some white lesbians that do this. They write it, produce it, direct it, and animate it.
Wow.
So the message, the vehicle, is this professional black woman who's a physician with her stay-at-home drone husband.
Yeah. Wow.
And they push this. And they got her with a big old butt, too.
That's fascinating. Speaking of big old butts, the first lady picture, you didn't like it.
She looks like she jumped off a plantation, and I've seen pictures of that kind of dress where they get a sheet that Missy, the mistress, gave them, and then they do a patchwork quilt thing to put color in it. So why in the world do they have her with that flat-tone cartoon thing that they did to her, like they do on animation, with that ugly-looking bag of a dress? Patchwork dress, and they actually picked it. And then on Obama, when I first heard the description, I thought he was sitting in the Rose Garden or something.
Right.
And then I look at that from top to bottom, it's foliage, but his uniform is bush. Looks like they got a crow looking out of a bush. The bush overlaps his legs, obscures part of him, and it's up here and it goes to the bottom. Yeah, I got a picture here. I'll bring it up.
But yeah, they were saying that it's like he was in Wrigley Field, in the outfield for Chicago Cubs. He's a White Sox fan, like he was in Wrigley Field.
It ain't no Wrigley Field. Look at there's the picture.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
That's it. Yeah.
That's the portrait.
But Kahindi Wiley is a very fascinating dude, because normally he'll paint black folks with, cutting off white folks' hair.
Isn't that ridiculous?
So from the Renaissance of
It's absolutely damn ridiculous. No tie on, sitting in a straight back chair instead of at a desk or standing with power, dignity, and authority. Hey, this looks like a bozo Bushman. Is that supposed to be the settlement? He from the Bushes. Brother, a Bush.
And that's supposed to be his portrait.
That's his portrait.
Go to the National Portrait Gallery. Yeah, National Portrait Gallery.
What about the other not his portrait?
Yeah, the one before him, he's standing up looking dignified. Look at Michelle.
Bush, was it Bush?
He got on a suit. Wow. Look at Michelle.
That's one of them. It's very abstract. But she's going for the G Benz quilt, Memphis sisters down in Alabama. If you want that,
That's fashion. It's gaudy. It's tasteless. It's unflattering, and it looks ridiculous.
Well, the first lady, she likes it. That's what
I don't care.
She loves it.
See, you know what?
Okay.
See, it says something about somebody that you would like that representation of yourself.
And that's not only representation.
And it represents, actually, it's a pretty damn good, profound, but subtle statement about that whole administration.
Yeah.
What did he do? Did he exercise anything on our behalf? No. He puts himself in a hippie thing where he's surrounded by goddamn a bush.
Yeah.
He just wanted a little bit more black hair and his ears smaller. That's what he said in that thing yesterday.
No, but look at that. Yeah, it's staring his ass. He's in the middle of the bush. He ain't just around. It's like you got a crow up in the middle of the goddamn bush.
But don't even been out looking at him. Wiley would do pictures of black men posing with saber swords and on horseback like Napoleon. It's like they even his sisters beheaded like rain or got their head to other kind of biblical family.
And let me tell you where I'm coming from.
Okay.
On my generation, see, we don't like Jimi Hendrix. We thought he was a hippie clown, a disgrace. Man, what kind of lame ass music is he singing, man? Looking like he lost his mind, got on a LSD trip and didn't come back. Head bandana around his head, wearing beads and shit. Fool's lost his mind. Now they put him up as an icon for Black History Month, and we used to look at it.
But he was 101st Airborne, though. He was screaming.
He never goddamn, he lost his mind. He lost his mind. And see, I remember when they did a feature on him after it, they brought in, he said, we his only black friends, the three of us. Jimmy, he's strange. He didn't have no white friends. He liked to hang around with the white folk. He didn't hang around with black folk, didn't hang around with them in school either.
Yeah.
He just say he never would associate with black folk. Maybe that's why he never played no black music.
But he did he said, I saw a documentary after he passed, people said he was a supporter of the Black Panther Party. Who about to pay
no.
That's what they say. I mean,
he don't even know what that damn Panther Party was. Look, I knew Elvis Cleaver. I knew his wife. I knew Huey P. Newton, who was, if it was on and on, he brought his own death from walking in a bar, talking about he kick everybody's ass in the place. Somebody said, oh, yeah? But anyway, that's another thing. See, I knew all of them. I recruited Bunchy Carter and John Huggins and Geronimo Pratt, to UCLA under the program we were recruiting for. I knew I was the BSU community liaison. I knew all them folks. See, ain't like that, man. It's like Jimi Hendrix, didn't anybody in the party like his ass either. Nobody did. See, there's a little background history back then. See, the Panthers had a whole lot of people from a gang known as the Slossers.
Right.
The US organization had a whole lot of people from a gang known as the Businessmen. And they used to be killing each other prior to that August 1965 thing. After that was over, everybody was at peace. But LAPD, through their SIS unit and the FBI, recruited Karinga and his boys, and they were providing information on black activity. And they started that Kwanzaa thing so that they could bring black folk together and get them to talk, and so they could record it. And they had their little members taught them to do shorthand. And they're going, oh, bro, why are you taking shorthand notes and we carrying on a conversation? And then a week later, the FBI picks you up from school. We need to talk. What do you know about so-and-so and they're quoting you? God damn. Man, did they quote you? Yeah, man. Them motherfucking orangutans, man, they were writing all that down. So I won't deal with QuINcy because it was a setup, 1966, over in Leimert Park. The park's right there on Crenshaw. And the whole thing was get black folk to come over and talk so they could be informed on to the SIS unit and to the FBI. So, you know, there's all kinds of bad stuff behind it.
But can you like say we took it, like we flipped the word nigga around with the hip hop thing?
Well, we didn't do that. See, we never used that. That was just not to be used. Where that N word came from and dog. See, let me give you this example. 1967, when we started this Black Studies thing at UCLA, it was a matter of national policy to get people in school. So school was basically free. It was, could you get the money to live off of otherwise? So we got all this money together and we were recruiting people. So we go out to say, Jordan Downs, which was a real rough project out in the LA area. And what would happen is we would be talking to people, brother, you want to go? Yeah, man, I'm down for this, man. What I got to do? Well, go over to the rec room. We got 2 or 3 women over there that will help you fill out the form. Man, let me go. I'm going to do. Sister, you interested? Brother, anything I can do to get out of here. I need to get an education, you know, blah, blah, blah. Go on over to the rec room. Then we'd get this. You done lost your mind. My caseworker said I got to come talk to you fools if I want to keep my check. I ain't going to no damn school. Ain't going to work neither. All I got to do is flat back spread, you know, get another one and I get a bigger check. Screw all you fools. F all of them. And see, they got left behind. And when you'd see them, they'd be some little he ain't shit. He just like a no good damn daddy, just a dog. See, and brothers didn't have men anymore that they dealt with except the ones that were a little dirty because they had a job. And mama sitting there screwing him, talking about, I know you got some change from mama, any little piece of change, all the good loving you done got. As soon as he got up, wiped himself off, get to the dumpster, and get in his ride and go, mama on the line to her little slick sucker that she feeding, clothing, and sheltering. Baby, mama need us some good loving. Now, the kids have seen you screw 4 guys with a job, run them in, run them out. Then you hollering all night with your fancy dude, you know, and they think that's the way to go. And you keep calling them the N-word, little this, you like no good daddy, son, you ain't nothing but a dog. I hate the little N. That's what they talk to the little boys with, like. And they got to doing it. See, that N-word use came from dysfunctional black facsimiles of us. That didn't come from young black men. We made a thing. So it's like you got everybody from 16 to about 25 saying, you call me that, you know, you got to be prepared to make a stand. Nobody used that. That was just counter-revolutionary, self-hate, all kinds of stuff. That was something that the power structure did to belittle the minority population, to keep them under control so they could be exploited. So all these women that got left behind that had no respect for themselves, wouldn't take the opportunity, had all these babies with no daddies, you know, 9, 10, 12 kids and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different babies' daddies. They get to calling the kids that. So the kids growing up, I saw it. It's just like, what the hell? You know, don't call your son that N-word. What's wrong? Well, he ain't nothing but a little so-and-so. His daddy ain't shit either. Ain't all of them nothing but goddamn dog. You know, and then you see this kid 8, 9 years later. Isn't your mother so-and-so? Why is that why you using that terminology? You know, and then you could see it start from the early 70s, mid 70s, the 80s. And it wasn't widespread. It was just, you know, after a while, you had folk when they started the hip hop rap thing, which was kind of strange because the way it started, see, was you get block parties and people would spin records and you'd hire a DJ who had a good record list that the party was good. But see, you wouldn't just spin the records. They'd start talking smack. Right. Yeah, man, you know, like we going down, you know, like we on South Central LA, man, we coming up here today. We gonna get the rock on the way. And see, we'd have contests here and in New York about what DJs got the best rap. I was a DJ for a while. I had a little bootleg radio thing we ran out of elementary school over Trinity Avenue Elementary School. We had, oh man, you should see who we had up in there. We had some people that had made it big in the entertainment industry. A lot of stuff, but I had to say, Mommy, yo, Daddy, yo, this is JoJo coming to you today on your radio. E to the T, baby, come fly with me. Up into the outer sphere we go, have no fear, long as Joe is here. Step back, I give no slack as I go into my act. Get down, Brown has come to town. Look at me and you will see there are centimeters of bare space between the soles of my feet and the planet Earth. I don't walk, I float. I have come as promised, prophesied, and as your fondest dreams, hopes, and imaginings have hoped to come into real. I am manifest. Touch me and see me that your senses deceive you not. Since you can't be here to reach out and touch me through your radio. Put on your favorite body part, sit down, put that big backside up on your radio. Put that big, oh baby, I can feel it coming to me. This is JoJo on the radio. See, we did that kind of stuff. That's how that stuff started off. And then you got Satchmo Armstrong. You got the Jazz Crusaders, Gil Scott Heron and all this stuff. See, they started doing this. So it just spread. And see, there was another thing. If you rap and scratch records, you didn't have to learn how to play an instrument, a trumpet, a trombone, the saxophone, the drums, guitar, piano. You could just sit there and, take a few weeks and you got it now. See, the quick highway to get somewhere. Mm-hmm. So what happened, see, is there was a problem in this country with the lack of manhood and male, masculine imagery. So you see somebody, yeah, man, I got bitches and hoes, take care of me. They give me everything I need, man. Some of them got good jobs, some get crazy chicks, some get AFDC. They takes care of me. So you see the guy with a stable and he's upset because right now we're into that unisex child rearing. His mama thinks she's a professional. She's fighting with daddy as to who wears the pants in the family. We still have a nuclear family going, but you see that ideation of somebody keeping the bees and the hoes, down there in their place. So that looks like it's masculine. Actually, it's not, because if you have somebody with real gangster authenticity, he's sitting there copping not off of manhood, but his dysfunctional little mama who had his big brother when she was 11 years old and him when she was 13, and tagging both of them around to a high school that's now letting them stay instead of making them go to night school. So they tagging the kids around all over campus, and she's 15, that's your mama, and there's no man there, and she's not associating with any men. So bottom line is you got no man training, but that's what you hear, so you act like your mom. Yeah. And your favorite aunt, who was 13 when you was 6 or 7, and you listened to the stupid stuff she was saying. Yeah. Wow. So see, that's how all that N-word stuff started. That wasn't anything being hip. It's just that, the music changed, and the people that financed the music found that stuff sold in Japan, Rome, Berlin, Tokyo, Rio de Janeiro, Florence, wherever, because the young males all over the world needed masculinity, and that looked like it was raw, hard is masculinity instead of some dysfunctional little boys that never had man traits. Yeah. And all that stuff where the half-naked women are bouncing around, that's not the sex object. That's what their mamas and grandmamas look like. They're 17 and mama's 29 years old and grandmama is 41, walking around with some booty shorts on, trying to be, laid again to get number 13 because she wants a bigger chick. See, that's ideation, and the aunts running around, everything hopping out, drink with a 40 ounce in one hand, cigarette in the other. That's the adulthood in their life. So that crazy ideation gets put over into real hardcore OG gangster hip hop rap, particularly the video fantasy that goes along with it. See, and then the culture comes out where if you went down, which, I'm famous for walking around places years ago around here, hey, you hear the young folk, man, stomp, man, tell Earl, man, he on this thing, man. Dog, man, man, you can't understand. You don't know what it is, man, till you done did your time, man. You got to do your time before you find out what's going on, man. Tell him, Earl, man, look, man, I ain't done my time, man, but it ain't like I don't know what happened, man. No, man, you ain't done no time. No, man, I'm gonna do my time, man. Everybody got to do time, man. It's inevitable, man. But you man, don't talk to me, man. You ain't done no time, man. See, so ideation is so stupid. You look at folk needing to do some jail time so they can understand what it is to be a man. So they sit there with that stupid.
Yeah.
And that becomes, this is the thing, street cred. So that's what gets looked at. And then, the folk with the money, that did what they did to get it out there and really got the distribution rights and everything else and the publication rights and all that other stuff. And the fools signed off on it. They don't want you to change it because the folk over there in Tokyo, they can't dance. They got to jump up and down like it's, techno stuff, with that crazy beat. So rap has been the same for the last 25, 30 years. It hasn't changed because it sells. They don't want to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And then you talk to the people that do this, and some of them are conscientious, but they say, Judge, we don't know what to do, man. It's like you try to put something conscientious in there. You got to sneak it in and make it innuendo to get it under the radar of the folk that are paying.
Right.
But the bottom line is even the fools that you're trying to get it to, they don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Now, I did a radio thing Sunday, and I was talking about on the way over there, I was at a stoplight. And some big old sisters in a car, and they had the music, way up, and the license plate over the trunk was vibrating.
Right.
And, he was doing the bitches and the hoes and all this other dialogue. And they would just bounce it, in the back of the car.
Right.
Oh, that's Judge Brown. And they waved, so I rolled down the window. And then 2 or 3 little kids popped up in the back seat, listening to all this stuff.
Right.
Now, what kind of chance do they have, and what do you think they're going to act like when they grow up? It's like, wow, man.
Exactly right.
So we wonder where this stuff came from. It's like we have a matriarchy in our communities that needs male guidance, that is man guidance.
Yeah. You're right.
It's...
Yeah. That's what's happening.
See... and then what our ideation is, you go down here to the Paradiso, you're going to see, PanTHEr, and is PanTHEr really the dude in the movie, or is he the dude in Gods of Egypt, where he was the effeminate gay god of wisdom?
That's Chadwick Boseman who's playing the lead.
Yeah.
Okay.
So which one is it? So you see him as bad man, but then when he does that other thing, what happens is that's a subtle message to go that way. You can be both.
Well, who wrote the script is Ta-Nehisi Coates, that's his name. He wrote the script, and they said he was dealing with all types of stuff. Africa, certain places in Africa, they're really going against the so-called gay agenda. So I think he explores sexuality in the movie.
Well, why the hell do you need to explore sexuality in an action adventure movie where the hero is supposed to give the overt and subliminal message to young boys that you are supposed to be a superhero because you are manly, you do manly deeds, you stand up for the right thing, duty, honor, obligation, responsibility, courage, bravery, physically and morally. It ain't got any damn thing to do with sex adventures. That's just gratuitous nonsense they throw in there.
And also they said they were working towards an angle to make the Black Panther like a cross between Batman and James Bond.
Oh, God. Well, why don't they put James Bond in? What's that brother that played in the Dark Tower, the British guy? Yeah, they got Moneypenny, who in the books in the first movies is a white girl that loves James Bond. Loves his dirty drawers. She's his secretary. Now they got a sister playing it. Why don't they have Black James Bond, since they've got so many people that have played that? They even got Felix Leiter, who is the CIA man. He used to be white in the James Bond movies. Now he's black. See, so they can switch it. So if you want to do this, why the hell you got to go get a fantasized Black Panther where you take off of some of the Black Panther Party imagery, including sitting in that wicker chair a la Huey P. Newton, who was showing off. But I knew him. bottom line is, why don't you do that if you're interested in furthering black folk and putting a movie? No, goddammit. You just want an exploitive thing with a negative message in the background and all kinds of inferences that the kids pick up when they start paying attention to who's playing what parts in what movie, instead of putting a brother in being James Bond, the master spy for British MI6. See, there you go. Now, see, that's the subtle thing. And then when they get the money that they want, because they're change, I still read the stockholders' letter. They're suffering for cash flow right now. As soon as they get that, and we gave it to them, then they'll just drop all that dude won't have another part, for a while. Or they'll give him a gay part. Look what they did with John Johnson, The Rock. You seen all that little really stuff Wayne Johnson, they got him playing now?
I seen some of that stuff, even in Baywatch, he was like some subliminal stuff going on.
Did you see Central Intelligence?
Yeah, I see. There was some subliminal stuff.
He had a gay fantasy for what's the comedian's
with Kevin Hart movie.
Kevin Hart.
Not Jumanji. Well, they got, not that.
Yeah, but the other one is Central Intelligence. They got The Rock having the hard on for the hots for Kevin Hart in the doggone thing. I'm like, wow, hey, man. What is that? And then you look at that thing they did with him about the Tooth Fairy, where he had with that tutu on.
What about the Super Line?
You need to see some things. They used to try to get me to do stuff. I can't do that stuff. You crazy? You lost your mind.
Come on, Eli got picked up. What about the Super Bowl commercial where Eli picked up?
Oh, that was disgraceful. And another damn thing, they take a masculine sport, the Super Bowl, NFL football, and they so punked that out over the last couple of decades. They got, imaginary computer generated lines on the TV. People go see a football game for real. Where are the yellow lines to show where the downs are? Hell, they put that on a computer. The rules are so sissified, it's pathetic. The commercials are lame as hell when they used to be better than most programming. Remember Budweiser from? Yeah. When that stuff started, they tried to make it family entertainment. And then they started letting 6 and 7-year-old kids vote on the commercials. I remember one year they had Naomi Campbell did a hot commercial for that, those sports drinks where they have the lizards in there, and the kids were writing in. They were downing and dissing, the gecko, this is a bad commercial. Say, hell, you see all those long, pretty legs Naomi Campbell would play? Oh, that's just, hell no. So they let the kids down that stuff.
I'm sorry to break this up. We want you to come back next week.
Yeah, well, I'm not ready to having a conversation. I need my coat.